new journey going coast to coast with Jody Williams, Chaka Thunder, and Dan the Nightmare. Got Arm Talk, collaborate and pull together, mash it together to do the very first ever coast to coast podcast. Welcome, Jody, to Ohio.
Oh, thank you. Not the first time I've been here. I actually was here a few years back for the Arnold Classic, but never been in Dayton. So I'm excited. And honestly, you know, this has been a long time coming. I should already have a national title by now, but I've gone to a few in the past years, but always came up short, gotten better, placed, third one year. But I think this might be the year where like, okay, fingers crossed, I'll get it done.
This is my first time at the IFA format. I've been to WAF nationals and sit-down nationals. Did fairly well in both of those, but I've never participated in an IFA level tournament like this.
I've been to IFA Worlds.
There you go.
Took second.
There you go.
2021, folks. Yeah, right after the pandemic. So, yeah.
We got Big Paul Cruz in the chat. What's up, man?
Paulie.
We got some Long Islanders. We got some guys from Oregon here. We're actually at the Oregon District of Ohio. If you check out the sign behind us, that was completely by accident. This wasn't planned. I promise you. But you know what? One of those happy accidents, that you gotta love. Mm-hmm. So you just flew in today. You made weight.
Yeah.
What class are we expecting you at?
Well, I guess if we're talking about nationals, we have to get used to the lingo. So it's 105 kg.
Okay.
So in American terms, that'd be 231.
231.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it's definitely odd classes. I usually compete at the 176, but it comes down to 172, which is actually 78 kg. Definitely odd numbers to get accustomed to, and a bigger drop than I'm used to doing.
I think when guys like you, me, a lot of people, when we compete and we're used to like the 176, for me, it'd be the 242. I could have just rolled in here, all good. But, I had some weight to cut. Finally made it, but it was like, I'm not real fond of it. But you know what, though? This is the IFA. We signed up for it, so we just got to make sure we do that. I think the only problem is that I think only IFA has these kind of weight classes, because I think other tournaments around the country don't.
They don't.
And I think that's why, like myself, I struggle with that a lot.
There's like 3 or 4 different weight classes throughout the nation. It's kind of hard to keep up to which is which. I wish they would just be a standard of practice. What will it take for that to happen?
Well, if you want my opinion.
Yeah, I want to listen, this is coast to coast real shit right now.
Okay, if you want my opinion.
This is my channel and we can curse on it, so go ahead.
For that to happen, the promoters need to get along. I think we got so many promoters now, and I understand you want your product to be the top one. I totally get that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like you don't need to step on each other's feet to get to the top. You know what I mean? You don't need to do that, because every organization or league, whatever, per se, offers something else. So like, for example, if we're talking MAC, you got the MAC hat on, right?
Yeah.
You may sit there and go, you know what? I like what MAC has to offer. I'm going to focus on MAC events, whether it be the Challenger Series, the pay-per-views or what have you, all that kind of stuff. Or what they got coming up, the Tough League.
Yeah, TAWF.
Yeah, you can focus on that. Mm-hmm. If you want, not everybody's an elite puller. So the elites, the ones up there, EVW, of course,
That's
used to be King of Table, not anymore. Some people were all about knuckles up, and then that kind of folded. But now you have other leagues like Montana Armbender. There's that. I think the Florida Armwrestling League still has their thing going on down there.
They're going strong too, yeah.
Yeah, but you still got other promotions like the UAL out west. You got Tim Tom Match and Arm Sports Entertainment. And then just some more on the East Coast too. So you have lots of stuff going on out there.
Yeah.
So it caters to everybody. I think the problem is we need more referees.
That's the biggest issue.
Yes.
That is definitely. I think once we get a little bit more of a standard practice with referees, everything else will kind of snowball benefit from it, right? If we have a standard where having a good referee isn't a question anymore, it's just a standard. It just happens because that's what's available, right? And that's who is being recruited for these events. Mm-hmm. I do think that promoters, one of the ways that them getting along, how they can get along, is maybe we just need to all pool. I know there is like a referees.com type of deal thing, but we have an armreferees.com, like Luke Posher was telling me about it.
Is that the one that Sean Hancock has?
I think
the one you do online?
No. It's not online training. There's an online, like you can contact a referee closest to you type of deal.
Gotcha.
It's like a listing type of
Okay.
deal. I think we need to work on investing more into that. I would rather see more invest into that for 1 year. All they need to do, all these promoters need to do is invest into that, into the fancier medals that they got. And then I think we would have a better trickle down effect.
You heard it here first, right? So I'm about to tell you something. So I'm slowly phasing into a different, format in this sport.
Okay.
Like more refereeing. So of course, they got the referees clinic this weekend.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, I'll be reffing nationals tomorrow. So
boy,
don't fuck with me. I will fucking foul.
Hang on, let me get a little extra money.
Elbow foul here. So no, I'm excited for that. Because I'm at a point now, like I said, I'm fucking 50. Like I've been in this sport a long time, and now I'm at a point now where I want to start giving back, so to speak. Yeah. But I also know that the influxes of the people participating, we don't have a lot of refs, and sometimes, I'm not saying I need to be paid X amount, but it's hard to get good referees because then all of a sudden you have a tournament, and all of a sudden nowadays you ask, well, who are the referees? Oh, that referee is garbage and that kind of stuff. It's like everyone's different, and I think there's always going to be more competitors than referees. I get that, but I feel like for me anyway, I want to start transitioning into that a little bit more.
So maybe you can influence that process possibly. Maybe we can make that a little more of a standardization, because that is a big thing. Some people, I actually will have say, I'm not going to go to that tournament because I know that ref calls shitty calls, or I've experienced shitty calls from this person. And that only hurts the sport in the long run. And I know that because I may like the promoter, or I may like who's going to be competing now. Oh man, I wish I could compete there, but I'm going to, get the short end of the stick in that matchup because of this ref,
Well, here's the thing. I think there's a fine line between when you referee, and this is my opinion, when you referee, there are no friends. Okay?
That's true.
No friends. I don't give a fuck if you're my teammate or not. I'm calling it down the middle. Because there's an integrity thing that needs to be said. And so I think that what you got to do, what I see, I don't want to start, crossing, blurring any lines, but when you see some of the matches on EVW, for example, I'm not mentioning people's names, but it's just like there should be no reason why certain matches go a certain long time. You know what I'm saying? So there's that, right? But at the same time, referees get pressured by the crowd or social media because, oh no, you shouldn't have a match end on fouls, or we want to see a match, not this, that, and the other. I'm like, okay, well, here's it. When I was brought into the sport, if the ref says don't move, guess what? Don't fucking move. Yeah. It's not that fucking simple. But as pullers, we always try to get the advantage. We all do that.
We all manipulate it. Absolutely.
Yeah, we all do that. But the ref says stop, then stop. It's just real simple. It's just, I think people just, they get upset, or they're so afraid that, I didn't want to foul out these two guys because, everybody wants to see that match. Well, if everybody was following the ref's commands,
they would see the match.
You'd see the match.
You would see a match.
It's simple, but some people just make it harder than it needs to be.
Well, because we are complex beings with simple problems.
Right. Exactly.
That's pretty much what it is, and I've learned that even though I'm only 6 years into the sport, but I've threw myself both feet into it and become very immersed. I personally don't envy you for wanting to be a ref, because I don't ever want to be a ref. I get too involved in the matches myself. So I know I would never make for a good ref in any capacity, but I understand what it takes to be there.
Right.
I get it. I get what it takes to be there, but I just could not take the action to do it myself. Only because I know I'm watching the match. I'm here to play. You know what I mean? And I want to be invested into that match. I can't necessarily be as partial as I would want to be for that match, because for the fairness of that match for the pullers, I might be like, oh, I need to do this, and then like all of a sudden, oh shit, I missed an elbow foul.
And I think sometimes some of the refs across the world, or even the country, I guess we'll just speak for the USA. So sometimes some of these referees that we have, it's not their fault, but they end up being spectators rather than referees.
Well, exactly. Exactly. Because the match goes, like, let's say you got Devin Lorette or somebody like a high value that's there, that's like, or a controversial puller that You know, so yeah.
You have to be locked in. You can't worry about who you're reffing.
Yeah.
Like you can't worry about the backlash if there's backlash. You can't worry about, you know, the crowd. You can't worry about who's in so-and-so's corner.
Yeah.
You got to be so locked in, like, hey, these are the rules. And if you set a precedent, they'll know. And then it starts from like, okay, what is your cadence? As you know, and I know, and everybody in the chat knows, what's up, everybody? They all know that more oftentimes than not, who's refereeing, because you know what their cadence is.
Yeah.
Now, some leagues will have like, you know, ready, go. Some will have don't move, go. So a lot of times you got to figure out, and this is for everybody out there too, when you go to these tournaments, find out who referees, what the cadence is. Yeah. So that way, if you're a puller who likes to time everything, you'll know how to time it.
Well, it's also important to know what that organization has by way of what they allow, because the referees are just putting out the official rules of that promotion, right? So, and when I say I put official, a little more emphasis on that because they are an official,
right?
Like you're a manager of the match,
right?
So when you go to work as a manager of a store, are you going to let your employees slack off and say, you know, it's okay if you do this? But then the other guy says, well, I can do that too then?
Right.
You know, it's the concept of what you permit, you promote, right? And if you permit and you allow certain things to occur, then it becomes too much of a gray area.
Right.
And then that inconsistencies start stacking up on a very large level, which
and that's the one thing you don't want inconsistencies, because then, you know, I know on a WIFE level, you start making inconsistent decisions, they'll pull you aside and go, hey, you might want to sit this one out, or you may have to go back and recertify.
Yeah. Which I think is a perfectly appropriate response to that, because you got to be accountable somehow, right? Not just the backlash on the internet. You need to be accountable for your position. You're an official. You are the manager of the match. You're the one who makes the match flow the way it's supposed to.
But at the same time, though, the referees need, and I'm trying to see is there a good way to say this? The referees don't need to make it about them, if that makes sense.
They should not be the spotlight of the show in any way or form. I agree with that.
You only got to concern yourself with what's called 1,000 wins or 1,000 pins. That's it. All the rest, let the athletes decide it. But there's got to be, you know, rules there, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, because like I said, with different organizations, some may like tomorrow, any kind of daylight, it's a foul. Where some will say, and you know this, right? And everybody out there knows this. If it's a bunny hop, but there's no position gain, they'll let that ride. Okay, right? Or you may go to a league or organization where they go, hey, we got running fouls. Well, guess what? This weekend ain't gonna be no running fouls. So if you were to ask me which style do I like better, because I know some people don't like the strict version for like TV purposes. I understand that. But to me, and this is my opinion, y'all can quote me on this, that strict rules makes people accountable for their actions, if that makes sense. It makes you pull the control.
Yeah.
You know, if you're sitting up there being all sloppy and stuff because you're used to a certain, and, you know, and I'll give this, and like, I always bring this example up, and I'm not trying to trash him by any means. Marcel Barboza, right? No, I mean, I'm not getting on Marcel.
I love Marcel.
I'm not getting on Marcel.
I know where you go. I'm laughing. I know exactly where you're going.
I want to say it was in 2016, 2017. And he was coming off WAL, right? Where, you know, you're allowed the running foul system. You get 3 fouls, and you're able to kind of bunny hop. Okay, running foul. Well, later that fall, he went to Nemiroff. Boom, 2 and out. Because he couldn't keep his elbow. And I'm like going, okay, so you see what I'm saying? You go to these different leagues and organizations, you got to go from one set of rules
to another.
And Wall, you had the whole, it was a season, right? From April to like September or whatever. And it was a season, and you're used to that kind of stuff. Now you go to a strict environment in the Nemiroff over there in Poland, Warsaw, Poland, and all of a sudden you get blipped for like, yeah, we're calling it. And now with all the cameras they have on the actual tables,
they won't miss it.
Right.
They're not going to miss it.
So it makes you pull the control is what I'm saying. I'm not dogging Marcel. That's not what I'm saying. No, my point being is that strict rules makes you pull in control, and it makes you accountable for what you do, because now you got to go, Oh, okay. I better tighten up.
Well, I'll give you a great example. I have multiple tables in my training gym. I have a Mac table. Shout out to Carnegie, he's in the chat.
Carnegie, yo man, what's up, dog?
We gotta get him a match, Ian. When's it happening?
I got 2 Mac jerseys at the crib. Still ain't been seen yet. Well, you saw it, but
it's gotta happen sooner than later. But so I got a Mac table. I have the WAF IFA style table as well, the standard table, as you call it. Now, when I'm preparing for an event, I predominantly pull on the event that I'm going to be working on that table.
See, that's smart, because now it's like, okay, because we all know you could probably get away with a little bit more. And I don't mean this in a negative way. With a Mac table, you can, there's more room.
There's more wiggle
room.
There's more wiggle room. I would say there's more wiggle room than the stricter rules sets.
As opposed to a 7x7 pad. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And, due to the nature of the construction of the table, the microfoul that would get stopped in the match in an IFA or a WAF setting would never get stopped.
Right.
In a Mac. Not because they're trying to, make it too show worthy, but it's still fair because it's one of those in that setting and in that format. I find it to be more fun to participate in because you're not constantly stop go. That adrenaline dump is a very real thing, and you do enough stop goes throughout the entire tournament, or a match, or whatever setting and avenue you're competing in, it's gonna wear you down, and you're not gonna compete at the level that you came in on.
Right. I don't mind the stop go because I'm a fan of the sport, but now the reason why I like it is because now I get to sit there and see what the other person's thinking now. Okay, stop go. There's a foul on you. Hey, there's a false start. Okay, now you really got to be on your A game now. You have to be locked in. So what are you going to do now? It's going to be different to where you don't get that elbow foul.
Yeah. What do you do? You're absolutely right. And that's why I emphasize that I train on a standard table when I'm coming here, because I know I can't rely on that elbow pad being bigger. I can't rely on the elbow pad being able to lift a little bit to maneuver, prevent myself from getting pinned or whatever it may be, or to get into my position. I can't I don't have the maneuverability on an IFA table as I would a Mac table. But I still have a lot of different skill sets that I can utilize the standard table to.
Yes.
Right. So you lean your body into the Mac table differently than you would a standard table. So the table mechanics are very different. While it's a very similar sport, to a point that Ian and I were having a conversation about recently, it's a very different sport in its own regard, because I move my body differently at a Mac table than I do a standard table.
Can I be completely honest about the Mac table?
Yeah.
I know some people thought, with Ian and JJ, when they came up with this philosophy, and they're like going, why are you trying to reinvent the wheel? You want to know my honest opinion?
Yeah.
Goes like this. The sport evolves. That's the key word here. So think of it this way. You remember back in the day, for those that know, if you slip, you start a power hook. Remember those days?
I didn't participate in the sport at that time,
right.
But I've heard about
stories. Yeah,
I've heard about that with sit downs and all that. Yeah.
So we've evolved from that. And for all the people who want to sit there and crap on the Mac table, I've never pulled on one. So I don't have no dog in the fight. I've never pulled on one before.
I wish I brought mine.
I'm curious, but I never pulled on one.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, somebody asked me, do I think it's good and bad? Here's my thing about that. We've all evolved, because did we not evolve from the donut hole tables? Right? Huh?
So true.
Did we not evolve from that?
Yeah.
Okay. So for everybody who wants to sit there and bitch about that, then how many people bitched about going from the donut holes to the 7x7s? Then what? Or even like we grip up and we had the wrist wrestling. We evolved from that. You have to evolve in the sport at the end of the day.
You do.
Whether, pullers back in the day, like I said, I'm just speaking facts, everybody. So you take a guy, and like I said, I'm not being negative about these, but when I say this, you guys understand. So take a Richard Lupke's awesome guy, just so powerful. What he did then was dominant. But as the sport evolved, he got kind of left behind.
Yeah. Oh, he did.
Right?
He did, because it did not. His strengths were nowhere catered to.
There's so many different styles now.
Yeah, exactly.
And, it was unfortunate that he never had a team to train with. You have to evolve in that sport.
To your point, Peter Leland.
Peter,
what's up, bud? He actually says it goes back to the training issue with certain clubs and people. If you train sloppy or you're allowed to train sloppy, you'll arm wrestle sloppy when you compete.
I know exactly what he's talking about. Yeah, because when you do that kind of stuff, right, and then all of a sudden you go to a tournament where they don't allow that stuff. If you try to, we all know that one person that wants to sit there and start with the carved wrist and all that. I'm like, all right, dude, just straighten your wrist. I am straight. Shut the fuck up. No, you're not. But when they go to a tournament that don't allow that stuff, now they got deer in the headlights. So it's like, okay. And I've always told people, Peter, you know this, especially in Oregon, the sign behind me. And I said, if you really want to know how good you are, this is to anybody, by the way. If you want to know how good you are, then you have to come out of your zip code, right? Like, who wants to be the big fish in the small pond? Like, you got to come out. And like I said, we had this conversation earlier this evening.
Yeah.
I said, I can't tell you how many times I've carried the state of Oregon on my back when I'm going to Utah and Ohio and Texas and Florida and, England, Canada, Mexico, Kansas City, you name it. I've been to a lot of places. I'm carrying that, because you learn stuff too, right? So yeah,
it's incredible about the evolution of what you can learn, what you can pick up on, being able to communicate is how we evolve too, and it leads to a point you mentioned earlier is getting along.
Yeah,
I found that this worked. Hey Jody, listen, this worked out really well for me. What do you think? It actually sounds like a good idea. Let me give it a shot. Right, that works. That's how you trend it.
Yeah.
That's literally how you trend it. And then it becomes a movement after that point, but that's where that open line of communication is crucial in our sport. And we're at the point where I think, communicating effectively is only going to elevate us more. And that's right. The premise of this whole podcast, right? We're bringing coast to coast and everything in between, smashing it all together. I love this.
Like styles, right?
Yeah.
We could talk about that for a second.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Once again, we can go back to evolving, right? Styles. So how many styles? I mean, there's 3 basic styles, but then of those 3, they branch off into other stuff.
Absolutely.
So you got your top roll, you got your hook, and you got your press. Now, with top roll, you got the, low hand top roll, you got the fish hook top roll, you got the freaking cobra top roll, posting top roll, fine. The hook, you got the power hook, drag hook,
high hook,
high. I mean, you got all kinds of stuff. The press, you got the shoulder press or shoulder roll, depending on what side of the river you live on. Flop wrist, whatever.
Yeah.
And now, King's move, right?
Yeah.
Open hand top roll. It's all the same thing. And now you got what? Now pulling the strap is actual style now.
Yeah.
So you got those ones over there. So people say, and you've probably heard this. I know I have, and y'all probably heard this too. Hey, you want to go into the strap? How often do you hear that, right?
I hear it all the time now.
So I can be a jackass and go, yeah, you want to go into a rest grip and then watch the reaction, right? But now it's like they do that for 2 reasons, right? So either A, because they're stronger in there, which is fine, or B, they got no wrist, and putting the strap on hides that flaw, right? So there's that. So it's kind of okay, well, and some people might be stronger in that because now they don't have to rely on their hand because maybe their hand's not strong enough. So they have the strap on, they're locked in, so they don't have to worry about clamping on this tight.
Yeah.
Because now you're using that strap as leverage. So I mean, there is that too. And I guarantee you within the next 3 to 4 years, there's gonna be a new style. I don't know what that is. So I'm working on something.
I actually have a question for you on that. Okay. I actually do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because for the most part, I know this isn't like in a perfect world, but for the most part, side pressure, hook. Back pressure, top roll.
Right.
For the most part. A lot of people have been saying, what about going from corner to corner? That's not strictly side nor strictly back. It's fucking diagonal pressure. Call a spade a spade.
I sat there and showed you, didn't I? I show you a video about that?
I know you didn't.
I thought I showed you.
No. Literally from corner to corner of the pad, That's just call for what it is. A spade is spade. It's diagonal pressure because it's not strictly side. It's not strictly back. It is a combination of both, a blend of both. And I do think that is part of that newer style of arm wrestling because a lot of times you will see they either just go strictly back, side, or side, back. Never just straight. Well, I mean, not just never, but they don't call it that.
If you break things down, and this is, you guys can, when I say this comment, I need some feedback from y'all.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when you pin somebody, at some point you got to go sideways or you ain't pinning nobody.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
I'm not saying, do what Todzilla does because he's just built different. I'm not going to try to do what he does because I'll fuck my shit up, right?
No.
So I'm not going to try to do that. But at some point, if I want to pin my opponent, you have to have some kind of side pressure going on at some point. You can drag all you want to, but the pad ain't this way. The pad is that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, or if you flop, you're pushing that way, but you got to have some kind of side pressure.
Side pressure, yeah.
So either way, it's going to have to be some kind of side pressure there.
Side pressure is definitely, what is your philosophy? Side pressure king or back pressure? Because of that. Because of
what I just said?
Yeah, exactly. Because I always hear so many from older, newer, and anywhere in between pullers that side pressure's king. No, back pressure's king.
Diagonal pressure.
There you guys have it. We have a new pressure that we're coining right now on the Coast to Coast show. Diagonal pressure from corner to corner of the pad. Call a spade a spade. It is what it is, right? I love it because I think arm wrestling doesn't fit perfectly in one little box. It never has.
Right.
And the sooner we realize that, and sooner we let go of the death grip of what we thought it was, the sooner it will evolve. To that.
There's a new, like I said, I really think in about the next 3 or 4 years, there's going to be a new style. I really do, because the sport evolves and we're all trying to find different ways. And we do that because not everybody's built the same, or we'd be a bunch of androids, right? Not everybody's 6'5". Not everybody has that big girthy hand or that massive thumb, right? Or long fingers or, long lever. Not everybody has that. So you got to find some way, somehow. And we've all mimicked somebody when we got into the sport. Like for me, when I first got into the sport, December 2010, the first person I stumbled upon was Alan Fisher.
Okay.
Right? First person I stumbled upon.
That's a good person to stumble upon.
And I'm sitting there, reading stuff. And then once I started looking at more arm wrestling on YouTube, then I became, and then the one person that was like got my attention like that was Cobra Rhodes.
Okay.
I will always be, I've talked to him off and on. To this day, we sit there and talk on the phone, whether it be about arm wrestling, whether it be about life, whatever. We sit there and chit chat. And I sat there and watched him. I was like, I want to be that guy. And I would mimic his stuff every single time, right? So I'm pretty sure, as some of y'all up there, you probably mimic somebody, to where, okay, well, what if I did that? But then, as you get older in the sport, not age, but like experience, then you start mixing some more of the other stuff.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a one-trick pony because then, people figure out, then you're done.
To your point of getting out there, right? That's how you evolve yourself as an arm wrestler. That's how I evolved.
Right.
I started off by being that one-trick pony, and then I was like, oh, that one-trick pony, I got injured. When I do something differently. So I gripped up with new people that I've never gripped up with, and I ventured out a little further. And every time I venture out or come to, let's say, an event like this, where there's people who I've never met before. I may have seen them online, but I've never actually met them in person.
Right.
I get to grip up with them, and I learn a completely new thing to implement into my style.
I'm gonna show you some things tonight. You watch. I'm telling you, off the air. Sorry, y'all, but
sorry, guys. Oh, we got Steve West in there.
Steve,
what's up, Steve? I was supposed to have a match with him last year.
What happened?
Life happened, and I couldn't make it out there.
I got it.
But real quick, I just want to shout out some people in the chat.
Yes.
We got Hector Beltran in the chat. What's up, man?
Hector.
Katie Hankey.
Yes. I miss you, Katie. I wish you were here.
We got Hillary Daniels. Do you know who that is? That's Matt Hollywood's other half.
Yep.
They're really big supporters of all the things we're doing. Jeremy Parker's in the chat. Mr. Peanut. What's up? Salvatore Rios. And yeah,
Do they know the goal
of this
in this Airbnb? Like everyone in this Airbnb
Oh yeah, no,
is
they
to
don't
take
know.
first.
No,
That is the goal. If nothing else, top 3.
we are all taking the podium tomorrow
Yeah.
or Sunday.
Or Sunday, right?
All of us. Period. That's just it. That's the plan, and we're gonna do it. And it's gonna be a challenge. Is there anybody in your class that makes you feel very spicy about who you're going
You know
against?
what? I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay.
Usually I kind of do, but sometimes with like a national, it can be you're gonna have the same cast of characters, but they're not gonna be in my class. Like this is the first time I'm pulling grandmasters, as old as my ass is. But yeah, so I'm really not sure what to expect. I expect to go out there and just wreck somebody's weekend. Sorry in advance, but I'm wrecking somebody's weekend.
That's always the battle plan.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this has been coming a long time. I've pulled nationals multiple times. I took 3rd in 2017.
Okay.
At the Unified Nationals.
Yeah.
That year's WAF Worlds was in Budapest, Hungary.
Mm-hmm.
So I took 3rd Masters. I was knocked on the door. My only IFA event was IFA Worlds in Orlando, Florida in 2021. Okay. So took 2nd.
Nice.
But I need some redemption because that year we were coming off the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Because originally 2020 was supposed to be the USA hosting IFA Worlds, but the pandemic pushed it out a year back. So when we had it, there was no IFA National at the time. History lesson, folks. So Orlando, Florida, IFA National or IFA Worlds, it felt more like a national because about 85, 90% were US Americans. You had Canada there, Mexico had a good group there, Taiwan, Kazakhstan, Mexico, Brazil. But it felt more like a national because the guy who I lost to, Andre, is from the East Coast.
Okay, gotcha.
Originally from Brazil.
Like evangelist.
Yes. That's who I lost to.
Okay.
So that was my only world experience, but it felt like more of a national.
Gotcha.
So I still, there's reasons why I really want this in the worst way this weekend, so I can solidify that. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, this is, except for the people in my circle that don't know about this, I feel like, and you're talking to a guy who has 2 podcast shows, right? The Cam Connection every Monday morning, and then Arm Talk, which has been on the back burner because of my work schedule now. But there's been times I feel like I couldn't talk to certain people, or I couldn't be involved in certain conversations because I didn't have that accolade. That was just my own personal feeling.
I got you.
I'm not saying it's true, but that's just how I felt. And so for me personally, I feel like if I can put a feather in that hat and kind of go, okay,
and you want to earn your stripes.
Yeah. I really want to do that. That way I can kind of go, okay, cool. And then that'll be part 1 of 2 of the journey. The second part will obviously go to Worlds, but go to where it feels like it's an international thing, not just, oh, okay, it's a bunch of Americans there. Now I'm pulling a bunch of people I could pull my own country without spending all the money to go across the world, right? So, and we talked about that before earlier tonight, but I really want this I don't know where the Worlds is going to be next year, so I got some decisions to make. And I told people, people who know me, I've told this before. If I don't place top 3, I'm not going to Worlds.
I'm in the same exact mindset. I want to earn my right to be there. I want to earn and I don't feel comfortable representing the United States unless I've done so. Yeah, that's my standpoint. We talked about this before. Like, I'm planning it to be a family vacation.
Yeah,
and my son and my wife are insanely excited about it. So talk about no pressure, right?
Right.
But I wanted to, because there's this year, this event, there's a lot riding on it for me on a personal level.
Yeah,
I'm 39. 40, I make masters. This is going to be very telling, depending on where I place, where I land, where everything lays. At the end of the day, what I'm going to do on a national level at nationals.
Yeah.
If I'm going to, hey, if I stand there proudly on first place, then you better believe I'm coming back to defend that.
Yeah.
But if that's not the case, I will have to reassess and reevaluate where I'm going to be standing when it comes to a national level competition.
I got a question for you,
Yeah.
and y'all might want to chime in too. So, because I can't see who's been, I ain't got my glasses on, so I can't even see who's.
Just Steve West right now.
Oh, Steve. Now, next year's, because this year's World's IFA, Tokyo, Japan, or a suburb of Tokyo. This year's WAF Worlds is in India.
India, yeah.
I don't know who's clamoring to go to India, unless you want to see Pradeep, whatever, right?
Well, I will say this about India.
Mhm.
Per capita, throughout the world, they have the highest visibility in the sport of arm wrestling.
That
They have the highest, hands down.
that
Like,
Punja League,
the Panja League,
Woo!
but India as a whole,
Mhm.
India as a whole, they love arm wrestling.
Mhm.
You get treated like a superhero when you show up there, from what I've heard. And it's not just through Panja; it's like in general, and that in itself
Man, can you
does
imagine
sound
if Chocolate
appealing.
Thunder went down there? Good Lord, man.
So that in itself does seem to be enticing.
Mhm.
But I mean, Japan is definitely leagues above that by my bucket list.
Now that's for 2020. Now next year, WAF Worlds will be in North America. It'll be in Canada.
Yeah.
So I would imagine there'll be a lot more people coming out for the Unified Nationals next year.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Without a doubt, there's going to be a larger push for that.
Yeah.
There's going to be more people wanting to be a part of that.
Right.
Only because the convenience factor. Now, here's the other side of that. Are we going to see it as a big of a European presence? Because that's
the thing. I mean, with the world today and what we live in, all the stuff we got to go through, and I guess it is the East versus West kind of situation. Because I mean, you got some good athletes who can't even come over here because they got visa issues.
Yeah,
but that's a whole different show. But no, that poses a good question.
We got a big shout out to make right now. Denise Waddles is in the chat.
Denise, mwah.
How
are you?
What's up? We're looking forward to be a part of tomorrow with you. Handled weigh-ins beautifully. Talk about having like the patience of a saint. She had about 50 people simultaneously coming up to her when I was there, asking her questions, and she was just like boom, 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 firing it off rapid fire. I've never seen anybody at any tournament to be handling that much stress in that kind of moment. So kudos to you.
Did I tell you how many people signed up just for tonight?
I think you said something.
346. It might be more. When I left the casino, when I left the venue, it was 346.
That's only early weigh-ins.
They ain't talking about that's not including the people that are come tomorrow.
Yeah.
And register. So think about that for a second.
Wow.
Think about that. I mean, think about that for a second,
That's just, that excites the hell. I mean, that means we're going to be probably about 20, 30 per class.
Possibly,
That's going to be amazing. It's going to be a long day of arm wrestling, ladies and
And
gentlemen.
I think Arm Fighter Media is running that.
Yeah, Arm Fighter Media.
By the way, Arm Fighter Media. So,
yep, check out Arm Fighter Media. They'll have their links also on armfighter.com.
We kick things off at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yep, 10 o'clock.
7 o'clock for you early birds like myself out west, 7 a.m. Get up, get your coffee, bagel.
Now,
watch it.
Being that you've experienced an IFA, what did we do expect? So is it just like this? They roll right into the brackets, or do they do like a rules meeting first? Like, how does that go?
Like any other tournament, I mean, they'll have the ceremony where the national anthem.
Okay.
You got that thing. All the flags are posted there, and that was cool too. When the event starts, I saw 3 tables on stage, so you'll have one class on one table, one another one over there, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
That way you keep the thing rolling,
flying through it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So there's that. My advice is whatever your class is called, stay by the stage.
Yes, always stay by.
Yeah,
that goes. I actually want to bring that up. Everybody who competes at every tournament that you can ever be a part of, no matter how little or big, if your class is up, stay close to wherever they're competing, stage, platform, whatever it is. There's so many times, where is this person? This person left.
Bathroom break.
Bathroom break. Take a phone call. Go to smoke a cigarette. Like, no, your class is up. You're up there. Even better, if you're the class right before, like the next class, like the class right before you is up, and you see that your class is next, before the even semifinals, you should be at that stage, soaking in, bringing in more cheer, bringing more energy, bringing more power to that table.
Right.
Because not only will that help their other people compete and be energized, but that boosts yourself too.
Yeah.
That energy is contagious.
Yes. Oh, and before I forget, the president of the IFA honors will be in attendance.
Nice.
So just for y'all to understand, the president, think about the president of the IFA will be in attendance. So if you really want to know, you really want to show honors what you got, this weekend will be the day. It will be the time to go ahead and do that. So
no pressure, ladies and gentlemen, none whatsoever. Don't feel like you gotta work too hard, because I'm coming in, I'm feeling a little banged up. I don't know if I'm gonna be performing. We got Grandma Rose in the chat.
Grandma Rose, how we doing?
Love Grandma Rose.
Out of Texas.
Yep, Texas. I've got Dan Plexman in the house.
Plex, what's up, my man?
So we have an international audience tonight. Awesome, loving it. Plexman's a one hell of a dude. He's coming down to New York next month, because I'm hosting a seminar with Bob Brown, and Plexman's taking the trip.
Well, that guy travels. He came to my house. I think it was a couple years ago now.
Okay.
Him and his wife stopped by. We had a training session. It was cool. And then last year at Winter Blast, he was also there too. And then like the day after the event, it's Dan, his wife, and myself. We're all like just joyriding. We went to the Rocky statue, took our pictures there, went to the Liberty Bell, downtown, Independence Hall and stuff. So we're kind of hanging out. Hey Plex, but you remember how like so I'm not from the East Coast, I'm from the West Coast, right? So I'm driving and I'm like trying to get to the Liberty Bell, took a wrong turn, crossed the bridge, and wound up in New Jersey. So Dan, you remember that? So I took a wrong turn, was on the bridge, and then I ended up in New Jersey. I was like, crap. Well, I can say I can cross off New Jersey, right? So I whittle my way, U-turn, and come back, and then we finally got to our destination. But it was fun, though. It was fun.
So tomorrow is going to be the Open Seniors.
Yep.
Right. And then and men and women.
Yes.
Correct. And then the next day, Sunday, is going to be juniors and masters, all masters division, masters, grandmasters, senior grandmasters, and so on and so forth.
Correct.
Men and women, both respectively. With this number of entries, we're looking for a long day. So
I'm ready for it.
What do you forecast? I know nobody's got a crystal ball to say how long it's going to take. Maybe Denise, you can give us your crystal ball prediction. How long do you think we're going to be there for?
To answer that question, because every tournament is different, but to make sure that a tournament goes smoothly, it all depends on who you got reffing and who you got doing the brackets.
Yeah, without doubt.
I think that's key. We got Corey's system. Perfect. Denise knows how to run that thing by herself. Corey may jump in there and help out, if you got referees, I saw Pat Bear, I saw Bill Onifray there. Corey might be helping out reffing. Leonard will be there. I'll be helping out reffing. So I got experience in that. So a lot of it depends on who you got reffing and who's doing the brackets. We got 3 tables, so we should be getting by. With that 300 some odd, should we get a 4th table? I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking. A 4th table might be in order. Wouldn't be premature to do that, because that's 300 now. What's tomorrow going to look like? Are we going to have another 300?
Yeah, well, you better find a parking spot. That's all I know. Because I just tonight, when I rolled in here, I'm thinking, damn, I got to park like by the street, then walk all the way up to the front. And, but I was able to get there and made weight. It was cool, but that was a decent walk because, again, it's at a casino.
Yeah.
So, a casino on a Friday night is going to be jumping. You might have a chance to get some decent parking tomorrow, just we kick things off at 10. Yeah. But,
So Denise actually says we're kicking off it's going to be an opening ceremony for special awards, and then by when it's all said and done, we'll be starting the tournament at 11 o'clock.
Oh, 11 o'clock. Okay, I stand corrected. Sorry, 11 o'clock.
So but the opening ceremony, hopefully we'll fly through that. So I'd say, in my experience, little as it is, I would say we'll probably be out of the first day of competition no later than 6.
Okay, I mean that's fine, because it's the Nationals. Come on,
exactly
the Nationals, man.
6, maybe. I hate that. I hate to do it. 6, maybe 7.
No, that's all right.
For those who are the what's it called? The millennials. Oh, we got Zach Monroe. That's through the fingers, right?
I think so.
It's up in Canada. What's up, man?
Alberta,
yeah.
House.
Yeah, it's one of Brian Parliament's.
That's my buddy right there.
Yep.
Parliament got some good stuff coming up. He has matches set from now through February of next year. So,
that's amazing.
He's on the warpath. I think he injured himself at Canadian Nationals last year, so he wants to kind of avenge that, and he's getting healthier now. So, yeah.
Good. Kudos to him, man.
There we go.
So, speaking of things coming down the pipeline, we know what the Nationals is going to be amazing. It's going to be a hell of a trip.
Right.
Next month, I got my seminar that I'm hosting with Bob Brown. 2-day seminar. It's going to be amazing. Got 15 dudes coming down from all over the place, catering and everything.
Catered?
Yeah, to be catered on site. So for lunch, it's going to be catered one day. Next day, breakfast will be catered. And I'm trying to give people an experience. After hearing Tim Talmadge talking about that, on your shows.
Yeah.
There's no reason why I shouldn't provide that. I'm not looking to make anything. I want to provide an experience. That's my legacy, is the experience. I'm not going to make money. I have a job that I can do that with.
Oh, don't get me started on that shit. Boy, don't get me started on that.
Do you have anything going on next month?
No.
Okay.
I got my tournament coming up June 13th, LOD, because I think you'll be there.
Yep, I will be there.
Peter will be there because, and you're coming from the East Coast. I got Merlene. She's in a super match. She's coming from South Carolina against Peyton Pickering out of Canada. So,
you're drawing a really awesome crew. Oh, we got honorary
say hi to everybody, man.
Say hi.
Represent Oregon. See that? See that? So for me, the rest of the year, I think I'm just gonna focus on this weekend.
Okay.
Of course, my tournament in June, but the weekend before, you have your tournament.
Yep.
You got
a big tournament.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
June 6th is like
June 6th is the day arm wrestling exploded.
You understand what June 6th is, right, people? So talk about your event first.
So June 6th, I have 25 super matches with Paul Cruz and Surrey Brown being the headliner with a co-headline of Madison Lynn versus Sarah Wilson.
Can I stop you right there? Because you and I talked about that.
Yep.
Everybody knows I'm a big. I'll say it one more time. Big. I love the ladies division, right? Do you understand the magnitude of that match right now?
After our conversation earlier, I get how big this is for the women's division. This is massive. This is going to change and ripple a lot of waves.
Here's why. So, as y'all know, the women's round robin took place last weekend or week before last now?
I think it was the weekend before last.
Okay. So, that 160 plus class, Katie Owens won. She beat Martha Swick out, even though they both tied, but she ended up got the tiebreaker. So after that, the in the hook rankings came out. So the top three, right hand, the round robin was 160 and over, but this is 154 and over ranking wise. Okay, fine. Jocelyn Brisson, number 1. Sarah Wilson, number 2. Katie Owens, number 3. Now, in that round robin, who did Katie have to beat? Madison Lynn. Now, hear me out. Sarah Wilson's number 2. So let's do some math. If somehow Madison takes the victory over Sarah, now she's number 2, correct? And now Katie's still sitting at 3, and Katie's like, wait a minute, hold the phone. I just beat her in the round robin. You see how that works out?
Yeah.
So that could cause some serious controversy, maybe. Who knows? Not in a bad way, but just it can cause some like, okay, well, to the point maybe they need to have a match down the road.
It definitely presents a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Right.
And, with a match down the road in that regard. I think that that's definitely the only route that can happen. And, I do think that match is going to be a massive one. There's going to be a lot of wave starters, not just in the women's division. We have number 18 facing a newer guy that's in Long Island from Staten Island.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty much undefeated in the super match format.
Okay.
Against some heavy hitters. I've faced him myself. He's a monster. Who? His name's Conrad. I can't pronounce his last name. It's a Polish last name, but
right.
His name's Conrad. He's young, he's hungry, and he's strong. I don't know if you're familiar with who Brian Malik is.
Oh, yeah.
He beat him fairly convincingly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's that good.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah. And he's going up against Jeff Botcher or something. I can't pronounce his last name either.
And this is for a ranking?
It's funny you asked that. People have asked me, do these matches count to average and ranking because it's in a MAC format? And I'm in a similar belief system that it should have its own ranking system.
I'm glad. I was going to say something. I'm glad you said it first, though.
I think that because remember how I said earlier, the way I move on a MAC table is different how I move on a standard table, and the way I arm wrestle is different. And so I don't think that they should have a standing on either one. I think they should be not by way of rankings. They should be given opportunities based on performances on each one. Without a doubt, if I beat if Puller A beats Puller B, he should move on. It doesn't matter to where. They should give him the accolade that, hey, this is a resume builder type of deal, regardless. But I don't think it should actually affect the ranks.
You know what? I'll give you an example. MAC 1. Ian, JJ, if y'all watching, so do you remember MAC 1? The match between Heidi Cordner and Jocelyn Brisson. Yeah. And this was coming off Jocelyn's whacking everybody at her round robin that year.
Mm-hmm.
When Sarah thought the world thought no one can beat Sarah Bachman, and Jocelyn just kind of did that to her. Right now, here's the deal. The following weekend, she goes to MAC 1, beats Heidi Cordner 3-0. But we all know the rules at MAC are different. So this is why MAC should have their own rankings based on this match, because that match between Heidi and Jocelyn was for the number 1 ranked puller in the women's division.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to go by CAW or CWAF rules. You can't do that on a MAC table. If you're going to have a rankings match, then you're going to have, they have to have it on a 7x7 pad. That's the only way.
A standard table.
Right.
And because that's what the current rankings reflect, is matches that occurred on that style table.
I think if you do it the way they've done it, it causes too much controversy.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody, I don't know how many people out west have a MAC table, if I'm being completely honest.
Good question.
It hasn't made its way out west yet.
In the north, for Canada, that far, they have a few of them over that way.
I have to go visit Brian Parliament and the guys that threw the fingers. I know that he has a MAC tables in his basement. So
we or have him bring it down here, because he travels to the States pretty with some regularity. So I think that's something that we should definitely push for, because the cool thing about the MAC tables, they actually have made an option or a version where they could place it onto a standard table to kind of still replicate that feel. So you don't have to invest so much into a full standard table. However, don't get me wrong, every one of my club loves the MAC table over any other table. And I've had easy wheel tables in my house. They've competed on combat sports. They competed on legacy tables. They competed on Lucas Raven tables. All of them are good tables. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with those tables. They just have a personal preference. They love, and they speak to saying, it's more comfortable to arm wrestle on a mat table.
Well, you pull differently. It's no different than having a table where the pin pads are straight across as opposed to ones that are angled.
Mm-hmm.
You pull differently.
Yeah.
Like when I'm on a table with the pads angled, I feel condensed. Sometimes you feel like it's easier to get the pin.
Yeah. Well, you have to be tighter.
Right. You have to be real tight. Yeah. Whereas if you go straight across, you feel like just visually you feel like you have more room.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It gives you you sitting in a tight car versus not so tight car.
Right.
Got Mr. Peanut saying hi.
What up,
Drew?
Should really put my glasses on. I can't see the chat, man.
We got to figure that out next time. Because I do think moving forward, we should have at least once a month, kind of just doing a little cap like this. You know, what's to come down the pipeline, how things are, a review of the previous month's issues. Because I know you have your existing podcast, as do I, and we're both very busy people. But a once a month recap, I think, would be fun. You know, a lot can happen.
Yeah,
a lot can happen in that, and you know, the coast to coast, and we'll find a time that works for both of us. And you know, anybody in the chat, if you have any topics, discussions, feel free to shoot Jody a message, shoot me a message. We will try to figure out how to get this on both of our channels. Yeah. Simultaneously. I do like to show some of the event pages of certain things. Let's see if do I still have the access. Yes, I do have access to it. So this is Jody Williams' page. Check him out. Please give him a follow. We're gonna be growing this thing bigger than ever.
Greatly appreciate it.
We're gonna be growing this thing bigger than ever. You know, he's got his event coming up. You know, I got my event coming up.
Well, June 6th. I mean, we still got Arm Sports Entertainment.
Oh, yeah, we haven't even covered everything else about it.
Arizona State down there. And yes, ladies pull for free. You know, so we got that going on. And you know, Tim's going to have some people for the guys. He's going to have the Australians there. For the ladies, Sweden will be there. So just think about that. You also got, I think there's a tournament up in the Carolinas. Yeah. And June 6th, a Carolina event. Oh, there's something else June 6th. There's some kind of big event going on. What the fuck? What event is that? I don't know. It's something to do with Monster, right? Is it college football? No. Oh, yeah. EBW 24. That's right. Yes. EBW 24. Now, once again, and I sit there and say, who would have thought EBW would come to Little Rock, Arkansas before it ever came to Vegas? You know, I'm still, you know, no, I'm not, like I said, I'm not down in the town, but it's like going, you take a step back and go, okay, Chicago, Orlando, Arlington, Atlantic City. Okay, cool. Little Rock. So I think, and you know, do we have an After Dark special on this? Oh, we'll have a little bit of that. You better believe we'll have one. Okay. We always listen. This is our own version of East versus West, if you think about it. You know, because I'm on the East Coast, he's on the West Coast, so it's only right. But I couldn't call it East versus West, you know, U.S. style. Right. That's why it's coast to coast. But yeah, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of things happening. Here's my thing: can the overall community handle all these amazing events happening simultaneously? Am I honest? I think social media is going to be it should be a holiday if you ask me. Yes. If I'm being completely honest, it should be a holiday. Think about that. June 6th is now going to be known as Arm Wrestling Holiday or something like that, because your event, you got Tim's events. Let's just start with those events. So you got your event in the Northeast. You got Tim's event in the Southwest in Arizona. So you got that going on. You got EVWs right there in the Southwest too, just a few states over. Then you got Virginia, the Carolinas, that area. So it's kind of like, okay, some way, somehow, I'll be in Arizona that day. So some way, obviously you'll be in your, where are you going to be? Where are you going to be? There you go. So the thing is, though, you got to realize that it's just a huge day. It's going to be huge. So if you're an arm wrestler and you're at an arm wrestling event, what are you doing with yourself on that day? Well, okay, so I ran into a problem once upon a time, because you remember when you had Mac was out going thing. You got EVW, King of the Table was off and running. You had Knuckles Up, and it got to a point where it's like going, damn, I can't afford to like get every pay-per-view. So it seemed like there was always one every 2 weeks or something like that. You know, plus the other ones that you know you support now. So it's kind of like, you know, can I afford to keep doing this? You know, so
that's fair. That's fair. You know, the expenses can be challenging. I get that. I completely get that. But you know, I gotta say, I could not have afforded a place like this all on my own. Like where we're staying right now here at this Airbnb, I took it upon myself to put the call out there, and a few select few answered the call, and just enough made it so that it was affordable.
Yeah.
And so we have the community that I think having as many events as we have is proof that we can work together. And this is a perfect example of that, where we have East Coast and West Coast coming together under one roof. Two groups of people who have never met each other prior to today or this weekend. Right? We've met virtually. We've only seen each other online, but we've never met in person. Now we're under the same roof. So there's no reason why you at home can't do that. Put a call out. Say, hey, I would love to go to, you know, Long Island for my event. Is there anyone else going out there? I would be happy to help you and put you in touch with the people who I know are coming out. As with Jody, would help you put in touch with people because he got me in touch with Michael. You know, that's how this works. That's how collaborating and pulling together works. You know, if we are stronger together, we can build this up together. So I encourage all of you at home watching and everybody to always lean on the community that you love the sport that we're playing.
How many guys we got in this house? This Airbnb.
We got
7, 8, something like that.
7.
7. You know why I think it works?
Why?
Because not one person of the 7 people have this ego, and I think because we don't have this ego, we can sit there. We can just. I came in here late. Sorry again. Once coming in late. Sorry. Came in here. I sat down at the dining room table. We're just talking shop.
As soon as
getting along, talking shop, talking the business, and you know,
as if we have never skipped a beat. The conversation,
right? You know, I mean, and that's what it's all about. That's why I like, even though I got my Oregon people who are in town, you know, and you know, we'll hook up tomorrow and stuff. But you know, this right here is because you join forces, and we're just doing what we love to do, whether it be hosting a podcast show, talking about, you know, the ins and outs of the sport and all that kind of stuff. That's what it comes down to. Yeah. And because neither one of us and the guys up there, you know, there's no egos involved. Yeah. And I think I mean, at some point you got to have some kind of ego because there's a one-on-one sport. I do get that. But, you know, if you can keep it in check, you'd be fine. But it's just, I think, you know, with the mass people that come to the sport and they mimic what they see on TV, it's not always cracked up to be, you know.
I said this before in a post because a friend of mine, one of my newest sponsors actually, and friends as well, because he's become that as such, because he's got to hung out with my family. I hung out with him. He's actually who gave me this new tattoo.
Nice.
He said to me, he was like, listen, I can be the one to run the show, but that's not what it's about for me.
Right.
It's about the show running and about making sure everyone who runs it is taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this is for me. I'm not the end all be all. Arm wrestling will exist far after my lifetime.
Yes.
It has existed far before my lifetime.
I trying to make a mark in the sport.
I'm just trying to make a mark in the sport. I'm trying to leave a legacy behind.
Yeah.
You know, and see what I can do to help elevate it to the next level. However that looks. I may not see it in my lifetime.
Right.
But at the very least, I know I put forth the effort, and I did so with like-minded people. That's all that matters to me. That's what makes it enjoyable to me.
I think for me, if you get the respect of your peers, that's, you know, where I'm at now. You know, just the respect from your peers is what counts, honestly, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it's like, you know, you can have all the titles you want and stuff, you know, but does your peers respect you? And for me, that's what it comes down to. My book.
That's the point of titles, is respect. You know, it's just you're trying to, in getting titles, you're wanting to make a name for yourself, and if nobody respects that, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know, we sit up here, you know, we grind in the gym, or you grind, you know, in your practice. practice is and all that kind of stuff. And the day comes, you want to put that out there on display for everyone to see and stuff. And, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But at the end of the day, does that person respect you? Like, oh, yeah, that guy's a strong person. I'm good with that, you know?
Good point.
That's just me. So,
No, that's, listen, that is the foundation of respect.
mhm.
Right. Well, I think this has been fun. Anybody in the chat has anything? It's about 12.
I'm on West Coast time, so it's like 9:19 to me.
I know. It's an early rise for him. I've been going at it all day, so I'm kind of gonna take some time to rest because tomorrow I gotta put my best foot forward. Look at this thing. This thing is ready and primed.
See that?
Cellar dwelling. This right here is not just created because I put the work in. I had people to put in work with me. Some of the guys that are upstairs, they put the work in with me. Some people that back home, they put the work in with me. So this is me saying thank you to each and every one of you that dedicated any moment, whether it be 5 minutes to talk with me and tell me, hey, this is what you need to do, or you worked with me at the table for hours. I don't care. Each of you deserve a praise.
Wait till I'll show you what I'm gonna show you off the air.
Okay.
It's gonna be some shit. What class you pulling again?
172.
172.
That's gonna be 78 kg.
231, which is 105 kg.
63 kg.
There you go. So,
63 kg,
and we got some of the guys up there pulling numerous classes. Like I said, the ultimate goal is we're all gonna come back with medals. We're gonna be taking photos and celebrating live or whatever the fuck, you know. So it's gonna be fun.
Hell yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a group picture of this entire thing in front of there.
Yes,
we have to. You know, with our bookends of Oregon.
Yes.
And yeah, we're gonna celebrate everybody. I look forward to bringing it to Texas. I gotta come to Texas again. I know.
What part of Texas?
Wherever she was training out of, where Alejandro is. I don't know. I can't remember where that is.
I've been there a couple times. I've been to Fort. Last time I was
Austin.
Austin. Okay, I was in Fort Worth last time.
You got to go check out Austin.
Yeah,
it's a great community. They're, oh my God, Alejandro will put you on. Will treat you like a royal king.
Oh yeah.
I was literally only 3 years in the sport, and I felt like a royal king. Like, imagine
I just like going somewhere and chit chat with everybody and just talking shop. That's just how I am.
But you get that, but then you get like, oh, you're coming all the way from wherever you are from, like, type of deal. That's how they are. You're taking the time to go show them support, and they appreciate it.
Right. Okay.
And that's what. Yeah, Austin now. That's right. Oh, it's Austin, not yeah. So.
Austin?
Yeah, Austin. Yeah. But I love everything about arm wrestling in every capacity. The community is amazing. You know, we are going to bring this show all over the place. We're going to be, you know, trying to find different topics and whatnot to talk about, highlight things on both sides of the coast and everything in between.
There it is, everybody. Thanks for watching. I know we're kind of late, but we're about to shut it down because we got to get some shot at because we got a big day coming tomorrow. So, again, if you want to watch the Nationals, check it out. Arm Fighter Media. They'll be going live. You can check out all the festivities there. Both days.
Absolutely.